Hello everyone and welcome to another LDE webinar. Today we have Claire Palmer and Catherine Woodwards presenting. Claire is a family carer who also has social services training experience. Catherine is the Family Involvement Officer for Centre 404. Catherine has been involved in the Learn With Us project since 2015. And now Claire and Catherine present Learn With Us, working in partnership with family carers, a film and training resource.
Hello, I'm Claire Palmer and I'm a family carer living in the London Borough of Islington. I'm the mother of Eleanor, who moved to supported living locally 7 years ago, where she lives happily with 3 other housemates. And this was a very good move for both of us and eventually freed me to co-produce films, develop training resources and write short stories.
Hello, I'm Catherine Wordsworth. I work for Centre 404, a charity based in North London working with people with learning disabilities and their families. I work as the Family Involvement Officer within their supported housing team, which is a team offering support to a wide range of people with learning disabilities across a number of supported living houses and outreach services. I've been involved in the Learn With Us project for several years when I came on board as part of the team designing the training resource pack. I believe strongly that understanding the triangle of relationships you will see on the screen here is the key to working in true partnership with families.
Thanks very much to Learning Disability England for inviting us to present this webinar. Learn With Us is a 45-minute film produced by family carers and financed by the London Borough of Islington's Learning and Development team, and it was made by a brilliant film company, Loaded Productions. We think it's unique because it gives a voice to family carers, support workers and their managers, and that's why it's called Learn With Us. Once it was made, family carers teamed up with Centre 404 to use it as a training resource for support staff and other professionals.
We created a 3-hour workshop around the film, working in partnership with family carers. This has been widely used in Islington with great success as mandatory training for support workers. And in the last year, we've started running the workshops for other boroughs and providers. We always have 2 trainers, a family carer and a professional, as we're presenting today, which provides the balance we want. For this webinar, which will last for around 45 minutes, we want to show you a number of extracts from the film and some of our workshop materials, so you get a real sense of the training that we're offering.
How did this all begin? When my daughter, Eleanor, who has severe learning disabilities, moved out of the family home into supported living, it was a huge culture shock, especially for me, as Eleanor settled in very well and made good relationships. She was, after all, 24 and ready to leave home. Neither the support workers or me were prepared for each other. They took my intense anxiety as criticism. I took their withdrawal as indifference or resentment. However, because of my background as a trainer, I could see how little opportunity there was for us to understand where the other was coming from. Without realizing it then, we were demonstrating the triangle of relationships that you can see on the screen, which can prove difficult for all the people involved. When these relationships go well, they help to improve the quality of life of the person with a learning disability. But when they go badly, everyone suffers. We have a strong family carers group in Islington who were keen to be involved in training the staff who supported and cared for our daughters, sons and relatives. When the opportunity to make the film came up some years later, we were able to bring together focus groups of family carers and of support workers and of managers to identify key themes, and so the ideas for the film emerged. It was the support workers who encouraged us the most, as they all said they wished there had been something like this when they started work.
We start the workshop by playing the opening of the film. This is a poem written by Joe Roach, a poet and a family carer, called For My Daughter, and Jo reads it for herself.
For my daughter. And you, Susie, what should I leave you? Not the pewter statue of the boy, his right hand missing. Let him stay on the mantelpiece for the second-hand dealers. Not photos of my mother, who died before you were born into that grieving time. Not money to be banked for you by someone else. Not my poems, you'll never read them. But the very fiercest of watchdogs who wouldn't sleep for 100 years.
This beautiful poem is on the screen, as you can see. We hear Jo's sadness and her fierce protective love for her daughter Susie. But the central theme is the intense anxiety about the future, about what will happen when we're not here any longer to support and love and advocate for our adult children. This is one of the main themes in this film. We're now going to introduce you to 4 family carers, all very different, talking about their experiences.
I'm Jo Roach, and I have a daughter, Susie, who has a learning disability. My daughter is now, she's going to be 39 very soon. Looking back over the years, it's been a hard journey. My level of anxiety is often so high. It's because of the person with learning disabilities vulnerability. The child part of them is so present in your mind. Even though they're 39, they're still, to you, they're that child with all that vulnerability. Is Susie okay? That's always present in my mind. And I think about situations where, can I take Susie with me to that place? How will she fit in? How will we fit in? So I think there's a lot of isolation.
I came from the Caribbean. I was born in the Caribbean. I came here very young, and I had Marvin. When he was born, everything seemed okay. And later on, he wasn't reaching the milestone, which I thought he would have done. And I approached the health visitor, and they said, no problem. Some kids are slower than others. And they started doing more investigation, like speech therapy and stuff like that. At that time, he was about 4 years old, coming on to 4. So all this time, I've been shunted from pillar to post, not knowing what's wrong with him. And eventually, we went to Great Ormond Street. One of these doctors said that he was autistic. It was a real struggle. It was very stressful for myself. At that time, his dad, frustrated with his problem, having a child like that, is gone. So I'm a single parent then. We all have this problem. The partner is always, the other way. My son is 35, and at 35, he'd probably be a married person by now. But because he is disabled, he's still like a child. He cannot handle anything. Any correspondence, money, he can't handle that. So he's totally dependent on someone. Now, I was that person who did everything for him, and he's gone somewhere else, and someone else, you're not sure that other person is doing the same thing. It's like a job for them, so they do what they can, and they're off home. For the rest of his life, when I'm gone, he'll still have to have someone to be dependent on.
Well, I was a teacher for many years, and during that time, Dora lived with my parents. My father, I seem to remember over the years, was really very concerned, sometimes even obsessed about what Dora's future was going to be. As years went by, my father died. Dora continued to live with my mother. She started getting elderly. And she really couldn't look after herself and Dora, so the two of them moved in with me. I then took early retirement from my teaching. Then my mother died, and so Dora just continued to live with me. She's quite a placid, calm, likeable sort of person who gets on well with people, and is a pleasure to live with. I think myself quite fortunate. Dora goes to a day centre called Daylight. She goes there 5 days a week, and she loves it down there. All her friends are down there. She has a terrific time down there. I've been looking into the possibility of Dora moving into her own independent supported accommodation for some time. Since my health has taken a bit of a turn, I've asked if this could be, the whole process could be accelerated a little bit. I don't think it's unkind to say this. A lot of carers hope that the person that they're caring with will die before them, because that solves one problem. It looks as though she's going to outlive a lot of us now, the way things are going, to be honest. I recall all the comments that my parents used to say, make sure Dora is okay, Dora must be looked after. All these thoughts come back to me, and it does get a bit scary when you've actually got to take the leap. The carer doesn't believe that anybody else can care for that person as well as they can. That was certainly the view of my parents, and when I was younger, I used to think how silly they were. But now I'm in exactly the same position that my parents were in. I can see exactly what they meant.
Bhavin is 26 years old. He's been living at home until last December. He has autism, epilepsy, and behaviour that challenges.
One of the first memories I have of Bhavin, I remember seeing him as a baby and thinking, I'm looking forward to seeing him grow up develop into the person that I am. Unfortunately, I wasn't going to discover how he was going to learn to speak and how to understand other people and the natural development the average individual takes.
We're disabled by association because wherever you go, they look at you, We felt we were not part of the community.
There's many things that I would see a lot of my friends and their families doing, which actually we as a family could never do. Very rarely did we ever go away as a family together.
Sometimes it can be very aggressive. He's agitated, and he has obsessions with papers, flowers, his collection of key rings, and if he can't get it, if we don't allow him, then mommy gets the kick, it backfires. He's never far from the mind. Every waking moment we think of Bhavin, what would we be doing now, 6:45 if he was at home, and having a supper. He's always there on my mind, he's always there, He's going to be moving into his own 1-bedroom flat. My hopes for him is that he'll be stretched to gain more independence and be his own person, do what he likes, do what he enjoys without mom restricting him.
He wasn't learning those life skills that will hopefully sort of help him to live a bit more independently, which is our long-term hopes. What matters to us is that someone like Bhavin isn't just part of some long, elaborate babysitting service that's government funded, but actually he's treated as a human being and as a person, and what he likes and who he is respected and understood by those people who are looking after him.
From this point in the workshop, we encourage interactive discussion in the group. Usually we have a maximum of 12 people, but we can work with more. For example, Owen explains that he only understood his parents' anxiety about the future when he became the carer for his sister Dora. This is often discussed in the workshop, as it shows how the role of carer brings with it a whole different set of anxieties and experiences. He also says that the carer doesn't believe that anyone else can care for that person as well as they can. We acknowledge the truth of that, but also the benefits that a new set of relationships can add to their lives. We give out 6 handouts over the course of the workshop. In the first one, we pick up Neeru's statement, "We are disabled by association," as she and her son Jignesh talk about the effects of Bhavin's disability on the whole family. This handout is based on the social model of disability and looks at the various ways in which families share in the effects of disability. So we'll go through this now. What does Neeru, mother and family carer, mean by this, by "we are disabled by association"? Although the Equality Act 2010 made it unlawful to discriminate against people with disabilities and their carers, the reality for many parents and carers is that they share in some of the problems faced by their learning disabled sons, daughters, and relatives. As the child grows up, the distance from their peers grows. Most people with learning disabilities will not have a college education or apprenticeship, will not find employment, will not find relationships or marry or have children of their own. It is much more likely that there will be problems with their health. They are vulnerable to personal attacks and hate crime. These problems affect their families too. So the first one we look at is social isolation and exclusion. I think Jignesh's comment there about there were many things he could see a lot of his friends and their families doing, which they as a family could never do, is very potent. It's not uncommon for parents to be blamed for their child's disability. It is God's punishment for them, or it's their fault in some way, which is used to further exclude them. This can happen within the family as well as the wider community. Quite frequently, marriages and relationships break up, adding to the stress and reducing the support available. There's been a lot of research recently that the stress and distress of social isolation is one of the main threats to physical and mental health. So we also look at employment and the difficulty for many single parents in particular to stay in or rejoin the workforce or retrain. And that if there are 2 parents, the likelihood is that one will become the main carer. This is due to the difficulty of finding alternative care or the medical needs of their child. The financial status of family carers is also affected. Over half of families caring for a child with a disability are living in or at the margins of poverty. With health, chronic, severe, increased incidence of mental and physical illness, and depression and anxiety states are common experiences. And the social role, we think this is very important. For many long-term family carers, and status they've had for years, their lives, their identities, and sometimes the family finances are bound up with looking after their disabled relatives. It can be very difficult to let go and move on. And I would add to that one of the ways we as family carers can be dismissed or judged by professionals and others is in the statement they are finding it hard to let go, without questioning, what is it we have to let go of? In my own case, it took a long time before I could stop worrying about Eleanor every day, before enough trust had grown, so that if a mistake was made, it was something that could be easily sorted out.
In this next section of the film, we're going to watch interviews with several professionals now, a mixture of support workers and managers.
My name is Claire Curtis, I'm the housing manager here at Centre 404, and the organisation was started by family carers originally, so we've got a really strong focus on family carer involvement that stayed with us. It's my job to try and train the staff team to work with adults with a learning disability, but If they have a family carer who is involved, you almost need a person-centred plan to work with that family carer as well. Every family carer is individual in their approach, their response, and their experience, and that's what we have to try and bear in mind.
When you work with the service users, you have this amazing opportunity to meet people that really you wouldn't have been able to meet with them. Most of these families, they are ready to share with you their experience. They were able to teach me, when you see this, this is what you need to do. I think that is fantastic. If you are on your own, how are you going to know all that? So they are able to actually open your eyes to things that you don't know and what you need to do.
Working with families can be really, an enjoyable kind of experience, but at the same time, that we do face challenges. Trust needs to be built, and that doesn't come easy sometimes when you're leaving your child or your relative in our care, and it's a big thing, and it would be a big thing to me. And me as a parent as well, sometimes that helps me understand where the carer or the parent is coming from.
Part of our role is to support the service user to maintain family relationships. That can mean different things for different families. One of the service users, family has no involvement with us. They see us as authority and they don't want to get involved. So they see him away from the unit.
It's both sides of the coin. You do get the family members who are so involved and they want the best for their family member. And they're on the case, they're there all the time, they're talking to you, they're finding out what's going on. Yeah. But on the other hand, and to see a service user and you know that they've got family, but the family's not coming round as much as they could or should, that's a bit disheartening, it's a bit sad. It is a bit sad.
Many of us as support workers, we are quick to judge. Why are they not coming? We have a service user right now that the family, they hardly come around. And there was a day the mom visited and I said, where have you been? Oh, she said, look, this is the situation, I've been very ill and I have to leave this country to go back to my country. So both of them, they have moved out of UK. This is the situation. Now you say, okay, this is what is going on. This is why you're. So if you don't take time to find out, you are more ready to jump into conclusion. But it's you that need to make effort. When you show effort to communicate with them, they see that you carry them along and they feel valued.
This is where the film begins to pick up on the themes of trust and judgment from both sides. As you can see there from Olakemi's quote on the screen, she talks about how many support workers can be quick to judge. And if you don't take time to find out, you're more ready to jump to conclusions. How easy it can be to make wrong judgments and how these can quickly escalate situations is something that we talk about during the workshops. We also like to highlight the point that each family carer is different and staff need to be able to recognise this and adapt how they work with different people. Let's continue with another short clip from the film, which explores some of the other anxieties that families are dealing with.
Bavin gets about 5 hours of support at the weekends on a Saturday and a Sunday where he's taken out. We don't really know what goes on during those 5 hours. It's not being communicated back to us. For Mum, it's been emotionally difficult to pick up the phone and ask, what has Bavin done this weekend?
I feel that I'd be a nuisance. I feel I'm hindering their caring for my son, and I'm sort of being a nuisance. So I just don't feel like I have that fear of approaching them. Oh, what did you do for 5 hours? Where did you go? What did Bavin need? Was his physical well-being, mental well-being? I'd like to know more.
When I've asked, the response is often, yeah, he was fine. Not much elaboration upon that. I want to know what my brother has been doing with his time. I don't feel that fine sums up. However, I am so grateful to those individuals. I wish they would be more forthcoming as opposed to me sound like I'm interviewing them about what they've done with Bavin.
You're interfering. You're interfering when you come and he says, has he done so-and-so? Or where is his clothes? Why is his clothes so-and-so? You're interfering because he doesn't have a voice. Well, I personally feel that I'm his voice. Well, they probably think I'm an overprotective person.
Maybe they think I'm overprotective. Right now, I'm talking to you now and I'm thinking about him now. Today is Saturday. Maybe they've taken him swimming. Yeah, maybe, If not, he's probably in his room there.
Family carers have had to be tough. They've had to develop a persona that says, no, that's not good enough. Maybe force them to be ways that they wouldn't naturally be. But they've not had an option because, being quiet and passive won't get what your son or daughter needs.
Here, we see families discuss some of their anxieties around issues such as being able to speak up and being seen as interfering or a nuisance. This is all too common when families aren't made to feel welcome and valued, and highlights the potential difficulties for family carers to raise concerns. What can then happen is that when a complaint is made, it opens up a whole lot of other problems that haven't been discussed. So, for instance, a case of a family carer asking for staff to please ensure that their relative is wearing clean, appropriate clothing. This might escalate without meaning to, as all these other previous and unspoken issues come up. The next section of the film that we're going to show you looks at the important issues of trust and how easily that can sometimes be undermined.
A communication book is a notebook that the carer will write in the morning and we write in the afternoon. And so particularly for our service users that are non-verbal, it's a really useful tool for letting carers know how the person was, what they did, what they ate, so that they know what to cook them for dinner, that kind of thing, because they're not going to get that from the service user. And generally, that's also, if it's done well, a good way of building rapport.
If that communication book isn't filled in, for any reason that the session leaders had to leave the session, or there's been an emergency and it hasn't got done, that would be a big issue. What else is not going on while my back is turned, while I'm not there?
The other problem, which you probably hear from a lot of carers, they'll phone up and they said, "How is my son or my daughter?" And they said, "Oh, I've only just come in. I don't know." No, that's really upsetting. I just want to slam the phone down.
All they need say is, "I'm sorry, I've just come on duty," or "I've just come back from holiday, but I'll find out for you."
We'll come back.
Sometimes they see things that make them to begin to doubt us. Are they really doing the right thing when I'm not here? Are they following instructions? And we know that some of us as support workers, sometimes we fail to follow into details what this family carer wants us to do. Maybe because we have other people to look after, because we are always working to time. But the very day they visited, they saw that things was not done properly. How are they going to trust us? The family carer, I think, just like me and you, they have the right to react.
I can understand it. You may have had to have been there fighting in their corner. You may feel that they're now settled into a place, everything's supposed to be good, so you can relax a little bit, but then something happens to trigger off a reaction and it's like, you're back up there again, that fighting mode, that defensive mode, and that's what it is.
Building trust and having good communication are two obvious aspects of building good relationships with family carers. What we want participants to really think about is how we can achieve these. Ideas such as being approachable, sharing experiences and stories of their relative, asking about the family's views and their relative's history, being prompt in returning phone calls and emails, not leaving things for someone else to deal with. This section of the film highlights how trust can be lost so easily, how small details can undermine trust and lead to the feeling of what happens when I'm not here. I'll now hand you over to Claire, who's going to talk you through one of the exercises that make up part of the workshop.
This is one of the two exercises that we do. It's our famous Coca-Cola bottle exercise. Its aim is to demonstrate that by the time our daughter or son or relative has reached 20 or 30 or 40, maybe, we have a whole backstory of experiences with the services we have to deal with, some good or very good, some bad or very bad indeed. We go round the group asking each person to read out in chronological order one of the situations that the mother has to deal with. We hand the Coca-Cola bottle to the first person, ask them to read the first section about birth, and then give the bottle a good shake. We've written up some of the examples on the screen. Going on to, if we look at 13 years, my daughter's epilepsy gets worse with the onset of puberty. Her medication is changed without consultation. When I say it's making her agitated and ill, I'm not listened to. And 19 years, my daughter is due to leave school in the summer, and the transition plan is for her to go to a specialist college I found in another borough. A month before the end of term, I'm told she cannot go there. We're using experiences that actually are common for many family carers. When participants speak about this exercise, they describe how it helps them to see us as people who have coped with immensely difficult and painful experiences, which may well affect how we respond to each new encounter. They understand what a huge change it is for the family as well as the person with the learning disability to move into their own home. And it also helps them not to take it so personally when the family carer is angry or upset. How we do this is that the bottle goes round the group as each person reads out one of the scenarios and shakes the bottle of cola. The task for the last person, with lots of advice from the group, is how to open the bottle slowly and carefully so the fizz doesn't explode all over them. And then we talk about how to respond to someone who is desperately anxious or upset or angry.
In the film, we have 2 acted role plays. One of them is about the complex issue of choice. An area where conflict can enter the relationship is when support staff think a service user has made a particular choice, but the family doesn't agree with that choice. In this scenario that we're going to watch now, a mother calls up the supported living house where her daughter lives to find out if she's gone swimming that day, as previously agreed in her review. There is a difference of opinion between the staff and her about the issue of choice. The role play is followed by comments from Henrik Lingard, who was our lead clinical psychologist during the making of the film.
Hello, Ellen. How's Mary today?
Hi, Kate. She's well. How are things with you?
Oh, not too bad. How did she get on today?
Today?
She went swimming?
No, I don't think so. Not that I know of. As far as I'm aware, nobody went swimming today.
Oh, can you check, please? Is Terry there?
Yes. Just hang on. I'll go get him. Hi, Kate. Terry's just coming. He's with another service user at this moment. Apparently, Mary didn't feel like going swimming today, so she's been listening to music in her room.
But she can do that any day. We've been through all this. We discussed it in her review. She said she wanted to learn to swim.
It was her choice, though, Kate.
Sometimes people need encouragement, though, don't they? Don't you agree?
I'm not sure. Here's Terry. I'll pass you on to him. He can help.
If Mary had her way, she wouldn't do anything.
Hello, Kate. How are you?
Not good, actually. Why didn't she swim today?
She wasn't feeling up to it today.
Was she ill?
No, I don't think so.
Where is she now?
She's in her room. I just popped in and checked on her.
Has she eaten?
Of course, yeah. I'm sure she's not ill.
Why not take her?
She said she didn't want to go.
Can I speak to her, please?
What, now?
Well, why on earth not?
The thing is, she didn't want you to know she decided not to go swimming.
So if I hadn't asked, you wouldn't have told me?
Well, no. We have to respect her wishes and support her choices.
But she'd never choose anything that was good for her.
Well, she seems happy with her decision. She's listening to the radio in her room and singing away.
She wanted to swim. It is your job to motivate her to do activities. Will you please encourage her to go tomorrow?
No, we can't tomorrow. We've only got 2 staff on shift, so...
So tomorrow she has to stay in her room, does she?
I think the whole scenario introduced the vexed issues of choice. I think as a term, choice is something that we can all agree with at its kind of most simplistic level. Everybody thinks choice is of course a good thing, but when we start unpacking a term like choice, we come to see that it actually is quite complex.
Sometimes people need encouragement though, don't they? Don't you agree?
I'm not sure. Here's Terry, I'll pass you on to him, he can help.
If Mary had her way, she wouldn't do anything.
Many service users are almost automatically saying no to things because they're introduced to things that might be unfamiliar to them and that they have never tried before. And when you're unsure about something, the default position of saying no can by far be the safest one. For the services point of view, they see very much a young woman, Mary, who can make some decisions about what she wants. They may see more skills and ability in Mary than maybe is visible to her mother. Mary or the daughter might want to be able to do things differently from how she did when she was at home, and that, I think the staff is right to respect that.
Can I speak to her, please?
What, now?
Well, why on earth not?
The thing is, she didn't want you to know she decided not to go swimming.
Terry is in a difficult position. His job is an unenviable one. You can really see things from many different perspectives as well, and the more you look at it, the more kind of complex the picture.
We often start the discussion following this role play by asking the group who they found themselves sympathising with in the clip and why. This can provoke interesting discussions, as the issue of choice is so often a complex one. Several key themes really emerge. The need for staff to balance duty of care and providing quality of life with freedom of choice and issues of mental capacity. Henrik discusses how a person may often resort to the automatic no to unfamiliar and anxiety-provoking situations. How to explain issues of best interest to families can often be an intimidating task for support staff, alongside being a frustrating discussion for families who may feel their loved one's life is being reduced down to social care jargon. A common issue is family may be seeing their relatives' developmental age, while support staff see their chronological age, and the differences this brings in individuals' approaches to the person. We speak about how the way choice is offered is key to enabling people with learning disabilities to try new activities, making sure they're informed in their decisions. Something that we like to emphasise is how much it can help to acknowledge and name what the disagreement is, and look for ways to move forward rather than avoiding problems and difficult situations.
We will now play you the final few minutes of our film.
Service users' ability to tolerate things or to participate does change over time. They're not static. I think sometimes families are surprised at things that service users might do here that they wouldn't do in the family environment. And we're often equally surprised by things that service users do with their families and enjoy and participate in that we might never have thought of or never thought them interested or able.
A lot of families are the experts, but also they might not have lived with their son or daughter for many, many years. So we do know them in a very, very different way. Often we want to go to new places, go on holiday, go on a plane, go abroad, and the family will be understandably really, really anxious about that if the person's never been on a plane, never been abroad. What about medication? What if they get ill? But it's just demonstrating that as an organisation also we've done that with many, many people with profound learning disabilities, and it's been really, really successful. So I think it's also important to have a track record and have examples of where you've done that, and it's really been a success to show families that we can do it.
If there is a difference in thought or feeling about an activity, there's compromise, and I think the bottom line is I think we're all looking out for the service user, and hopefully all decisions that are made are felt to be in the person's best interest.
Pedal Power's a cycling club for people with learning disabilities. It's just all about freedom, learning to be with other people. They're learning a skill, they improve their cycling. It's fantastic. But as a spin-off from it, we've got parents cycling, we've got parents chatting to each other, they're supporting each other, they're passing on really useful information. It's a really understanding group because we've all been through it.
The disability that a disabled person has is just one aspect of their lives. The person with a disability has an entire life of their own. And the entire life will involve their family, the family carers, the activities they get up to, absolutely everything. This whole idea could be dealt with if the family carer was regarded much more as a resource than something which had to be dealt with.
This is how our film ends, and Owen has the last word with his request that family carers are seen as a resource, as partners, rather than clients or problems to be dealt with. Another of our handouts details the ways in which we are added value, while giving space for people to contribute their own ideas at the end of it. And I would pick out the first one about how we know the person's life story, which is much more than a case history. And we do appreciate workers who take an interest in the whole picture, and this helps to build good relationships. We also talk about how we are experts from experience about our relatives' health problems and medical treatment. We've touched on that already. And the final one is really important. If really consulted, we will give feedback on the service provided and positive comments, as well as possible improvements. And we say that regular consultation prevents problems developing.
Feedback on the film and training resource has been overwhelmingly positive. As you can see on the screen now, we've received some very good testimonials. Our favourite one being the third one down, which was made by a support worker after one of our earliest workshops, where they told us, "This filled a gap in my training I didn't know existed until today." We felt this really got to the root of what we're hoping to achieve with this film and training resource, which is to give staff a forum to discuss these issues in a way they may not have done before. Here at Centre 404, the workshop has become embedded in our induction programme with all new support staff, and we've heard feedback from staff that it's given them much more confidence when working through difficult situations with families and in looking at situations from the family's standpoint. We've started offering our training workshops outside Islington now to other providers and boroughs, and there are three main ways that you can commission us. These are through purchasing the trainer's pack, which includes all the materials for running a 3-hour workshop, through booking a 3-hour workshop for staff groups with 2 of our trainers running the session, and through booking a training for trainers workshop, which enables a provider or council to invest in Learn with us for subsequent use within the organisation.
But we are also keen to offer bespoke opportunities, and what is best is to contact us and have discussions about what would suit you. For example, we've shown the film to a number of family carer groups, and it has produced lively discussion and learning opportunities for them too.
If you're interested in any of these options or would like to discuss the film further, please contact us on the details up on your screen now. Our website has also been through a recent overhaul, and you can find out more information there as well, and that link's at the bottom of this slide. So finally, thank you to Learning Disability England for having us to discuss our work on the webinar today.
Thank you so much, Claire and Catherine, for taking the time to share your experience and knowledge with us. It's been a brilliant presentation. This session has been recorded and a copy will be sent to all attendees. We thank you for joining us and hope to see you again in the near future.